Moving on here, I hear the word strength. I hear the word stability. During a sprint, during acceleration, would you please explain to a coach or an athlete what that means or what it kind of means to you? Hey, strength, stability within the acceleration. And are you ever just training one or the other, or are they both always being trained? Chris, we'll start with you on this one because you kind of just said there, muscles hold in place. They're going to bring your limbs into place. You're kind of alluding to the static spring that DB Hammer has talked about. Strength, stability. What does that kind of mean to you? Are you ever just training one or the other?
No, it's all the same. Yeah, it's all the same to me, because stability is really just strength in different parts of whatever's on the ground, whatever's contacting the ground, or whatever's moving to hold things in place. I think we've been brainwashed into thinking strength is immediately how much can I bench, squat, deadlift, clean, that type of things. And there's different kinds of strength. I get it, but really the basic strength is, can you hold your body in place and then push it? That's every sport to me. Okay, maybe I have to turn my head in this sport. Maybe I got to hold a stick. Maybe I got to look for something else. But that's really what comes into play. So to me, they're the same, which is like depth drops are so important, or a water bag is so important. All the variations, so you can try to strengthen around every possible moment that might happen in a game.
Awesome. All right. So Cal, same kind of question to you. Strength, stability, are they different qualities? Are you ever just trying to train and focus on one? An athlete's coming back from an injury during return to play, or things of those nature. What's kind of going through your head there?
Well, just through all my interactions in testing, which is, I would say I'm in the 30,000 tests on this. When I say that, just muscle testing and finding a problem in muscle. Like if you don't have the stability, your brain will never let you display most optimal power.
I agree completely.
You know what I mean? So Chris is right. They're together, but you said here ultimately, like I've dealt with teams or people have called me and they've been working a guy's strength and it didn't get any better, but when I coached them on how to just briefly activate those slings, and now his force went up 20% in a few minutes, they had already done their work. But under heavy load, he could squat great, but under high load on a single, or high speed, high velocity on a single leg, he was not displaying that force because he had no stability at that point. He had it when two legs were on the ground squatting heavy, right? And they're like, how did that happen? I'm like, you just created a stable atmosphere for him to drive up. Mm-hmm. And that was it, right? So honestly, like, how many times have you seen a heavy squatter who couldn't jump very well? And I don't see that anymore in my gym, but I would go back in my days when I found those, I'd be like, I would check their slings and their stability in their foot and their slings up the chain to go, oh, I figured out why you're not jumping as much as you should when you could squat 600 pounds, but you can barely jump over a phone book. You know what I mean? Right? Like,
yeah, I think
it had to be the stabilizers, Chris, that were not working for him.
I think we get lost in that we have to understand that the brain goes safety first, and it will downregulate any joint in thousandths of a second to make sure that we don't get hurt. We may try to override it by doing stupid things, but you're only as strong as you are safe. Dan, go ahead with that with vestibulars. I set you up. Here comes the assist by me.
I think that what we really are talking about is balance. And we've heard balance for so many years in the therapy world. I got to be on a Swiss ball. I got to be able to do it. But you have to be balanced. And in order to be balanced, that strength has to have coordination with it. So you have to have huge control of your deep stabilizers in your hips. If you don't, you won't have balance. If you don't have balance and your brain is threatened, you better figure out what the hell you're going to do, because you're going to fall, right? And your brain's going to protect you. So yeah, it comes into vestibular. It comes into the co-contractions in your spine because of your vestibular system. But I got to tell you, we have to look at balance, coordination, deep stabilizers, and being able to not access muscles, but like as Cal talks about, those slings. Forget the weak muscles. You got to activate your slings. You activate those slings, you are going to propel yourself forward. That's just the reality of it. And one of those things is off for you not to be able to run. I don't know which one it is, but when you find it, you'll run faster because you'll be balanced.
Just real quick, Dan, for maybe a newer or younger coach, they're hearing us say the word slings a lot. Could you just define that real quick for the listeners?
Well, there's a lot of different ways. First coined by Myers, right, in that book, but he talked
Anatomy
about
trains.
Yeah, about
Anatomy trains.
stretching and all that. You can activate these slings, and when they're on, it creates that rigidity and the communication from the brain to the muscles for gait. And that's what we're looking for. So you have a ton of different slings. You have a lateral sling, a ventral sling, dorsal. You have a ton of different slings. And I mean, and I know Cal's right here with it. And I know Chris has heard me say it too. When you start figuring out these slings, crazy things happen. Crazy things happen. And it doesn't take much to get them going.
No. Well,
Perfect. And then
Overspeed
Dan,
does it, right,
Oh.
Dan? Like you and I talked, and Chris, Lily, I have a sling that's off in somebody or muscle, and it doesn't even need to be involved in the slings. Overspeed training, I wouldn't recommend it always. But when you pull somebody, your brain goes crazy. This is why I think everything's survival, because your brain goes. I think your brain's going. I have to make sure everything's working to survive this facilitated
event.
pull, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's like, Chris, have you ever heard of this Iceman video on YouTube? You should look that up. And I know that guy slings. He runs on the ice, right? He should have slipped and killed himself. I know his slings were on, right? It's a really good. Look that up. Iceman
He's a
video.
really
on
good
it.
athlete.
Yeah,
That
he's a really good
jackass.
Freak.
athlete.
That
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
freakish. Like
Yeah,
Calvin
anyway.
Johnson, but
I
short.
think he had elbow pads on and a helmet.
Yeah, which he's worn his whole life.
That's right.
And I came on the short bus. Absolutely. 100%.
And he likes turtles.
But I mean, yeah, these slings. I mean, when you want to talk about an advanced system, our brains just downloading what 3 high-def movies a second, and these slings are part of that. Just trying to figure out where in time and space you are, or as Dan always talks about, where your joints are. The amount of calculations it's doing is pretty profound. It's just, it's scary.
It's amazing.
Now, Dan, a question for you, and then Chris and Cal, I want to know your opinions just for like, what are you seeing or what are you testing to know slings might be off? But for you first, Dan, is there a point when stability isn't neurological or vestibular? Like, can an athlete just genuinely be that weak and not have enough muscular strength to be stable?
100%.
They balance well, they coordinate well. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it just the when I talk about the deep stabilizers, if you can't get to your deep stabilizer, you'll never get to your lateral chain. If you can't get to your lateral chain, I don't give a shit what your brain's doing. You ain't going to balance anything. Right. So you can change somebody's balance like that doing a lateral chain activation. You can change somebody's balance like that just by teaching them how to get to their deep stabilizers. So
Just by watching someone's posture, you can see, they'll compensate and create variations on a theme for deep flexors. They'll stick their head way out, even when they move. They're out here. They're shifting their weight forward, so there's a lot less taxing. It's less taxing on the system for your deep flexors, and if you move your weight out, you don't have to stabilize laterally as much. And most people that come here first time, what do I see them do? They run, they've got their head stuck out like this. When your head sticks out forward, that means your butt and your torso are behind. And so you can't push. Your weight's behind when you push. And that's, again, if I've shifted my way back when I'm trying to sprint, it's a much more stable scenario, but I'm not going to go as fast, because your brain really doesn't care how fast you go. It wants you to be really safe when you're trying to go fast.
Yeah.
Okay. So Chris just kind of hit on some things that he's seeing or potentially testing there, Cal. Is there anything for you that are kind of either go-to tests or visually you're seeing when they're sprinting to know slings might be off?
For me,
Yes.
yeah, I obviously the big indicator is that their arms are not timed up with the running and lower body in a number of ways, but ultimately Chris talks about how the upper body falls apart in some of these 100-meter runners that slow down a lot at the end, and the arms, because the arms are moving out, as we've talked about in many of our courses. When that right foot strikes the ground, that left arm will have to move out because one of those slings are off, or a foot, any of those slings are off on the right side, then that's a problem. That arm moves out. So then the question always became, like, do you coach somebody to hold their arm in? No, because you're not fixing the problem. The
Right.
problem's a lack of stability, most likely in the foot, which the spring ankle exercise Chris created is like the foundation, I think, to fix it. You can do more specific stuff, but that spring ankle is a game changer, especially for high school athletes.
You fix your feet, you fix a lot of other problems, because really the rest of your body is compensating for what your foot isn't doing. So you may have some crazy arm swing or something like that, but remember, your goal is your target that you're looking at. And so your body knows what that target is. The first thing, you're going to get a level or a horizon, and then you've got a target. And whatever your feet don't do, you're going to have to swing an arm, shift a hip, move your head out, move your head back, do something, so the sum of all the movement is toward your target. So the more your feet do, the less the rest of your body can play sports.
No, that all makes sense. And it's amazing to me how, whether it's, Dan taught me tickle the feet and you deaden that tickle reflex, how many things get fixed, or the RPR arch reset spot. It fixes so many things. So I highly encourage people learn about the feet there. Now, we're talking about a lot of slings, and we've kind of mentioned, Cal, you with the Uri, Dan, maybe there's some vestibular stuff. Chris, I'd love to know in practice during your sprint workouts at home with Flossmoor, what are some of your favorite pre-sprint potentiators, right? Are there things where like, hey, do this to make sure your slings are on? Again, Cal, you mentioned the Uri. Dan, I've seen you do VORs before a 5 lead into a 10-yard sprint there. So pre-sprint potentiators, we'll start with you, Dan. But then I also want to know, if you're profiling, do you split those up, right? Does the low force guy have a different pre-sprint potentiator than Chris or Cal on your 1080? You're finding someone's low on frequency. Do they have a different pre-sprint potentiator? All right, so Dan, let's go.
Let's go with a real simple one: horizontal saccades. So in the research, if I'm doing horizontal saccades, flicking my eyes between 2 points that aren't very far away. This is what people do. They start going real wide and challenging. That becomes a threat to the brain. I bring them in like this and I flick. That is seen in the research to create stability. It creates a different sensation in the bottom of the foot. So you're talking about eyes moving, foot connection. That's covering something in between. So you label whatever it might be. You're getting co-contractions down the spine, and you're waking up the anticipatory about to go stuff that you need before you run. I would say the basic one would be a horizontal saccade to create stability. But I got to tell you, there's 5 things you need to worry about when you train, and you can throw them in as potentiators. You can throw them in as I train them. You got to be able to absorb energy. You got to be able to train your foot. You got to have balance, no matter what it is, pelvic control, and activate your myofascial lines. That's it in a nutshell. Do anything else you want within those 5 things.
Go ahead, Chris. Looked like you wanted to say something here.
No, I'm leaning forward. My Lyme's disease thing is hurting.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll go to you next. You're at Homewood Flossmoor. You have some guys who are about to take off. Any pre-sprint potentiators there for you?
I don't. We just go.
Okay.
I like to do things after your first sprint. I want to see what you look like on that first sprint before I've, created something else. I want to see what you are raw, and then I can make some decisions from that point what we can do after that. So if I see someone who's kind of on the outside of their feet, I really like the toe pro, the single leg toe pro calf raise. And then I really like, I call them ski jump toe pops, where you're leaning your knees over your toes, your hips over your knees, your chest over your hips, like Eddie the Eagle in that movie. That's a great movie. And we're going to toe pop. And I started doing those with the WEC vest, and that worked really well.
Oh, yes.
Eddie the Eagle toe pops with the Dave WEC vest. What do we call him, the vest? Is it the Wekinator or the Wexter?
Yeah, it was something. He called it something the other day. I forget what it was. Something.
That's
I
perfect.
forget. Yeah.
Cal will,
so it depends on what I see after your first run, what I'll give you and where we go. But I want to see what you look like on that day raw, and then I'll know where to go.
Okay, let's say your 2-3 sprints or 2-3 sets kind of in there. Have you already kind of bucketed for that day, or do you go off of the profile from a week or two ago?
I want to know what they're doing on that day.
Okay,
because that's what I'm working with. They may have changed. Hopefully, if my training's good, they've changed in 2 weeks. So I need to see what you do on that day, and that's always a big day of practice for us. Is me filming and then them rushing over to see what they have to do because they want to know right away.
Yeah.
And I said, sometimes it takes me a couple seconds to look at the video as they're shooting by one by one. And then I can bucket you. And I don't like using that term bucketing because that simplifies things. So for me, it's very individual. Some guys may have same exercises, but from a coaching standpoint, I want them to feel like they have my undivided attention and I give them something special for them. It just happens to be something else that they're doing. And then you get more buy-in that someone's actually paying attention to them.
Okay. I like that. Now, Cal, you've kind of already mentioned great success with your Yuri exercise. People can find on your websites your different zones, or we're going to call it phases of training based off of your 10-20 tool. Do you we're going to call it potentiate somebody sprinting based off of the zone or the program they're on that day, or do you kind of have like go-tos for most of your athletes?
Well, yeah, I think I mentioned almost everything. Like we walk in, we do the water bag jog, whether you're holding on your shoulders or in front, doesn't matter where I found. Obviously, then I do like the go drill still. It just synchronizes the hemisphericities up. And again, I'm at 200,000 plus workouts with no warm up and no hamstring pulls or no muscular pulls. That's after they've been trained a little bit, and then I do like that Yuri, and it's really early in my program before we get into the rest of the program, so it's fairly early. But yeah, I do like a potentiation for movement when I say that, like isometric squeezes in different positions, and I rotate 1 second squeeze, and I switch the whether it's a push pull for your hips, like on one leg might be pulling, one leg might be pushing backwards, and then they switch it and they do like a combination of a 3 second ISO or a 1 second ISO 3 times on their leg. So anyway, I mean, those are a couple things that I do. I call them potentiation clusters, I think. But anyway, those are some things that I do. But I just find the water bag, and I'm training a lot of kids, and we're not training to sprint, so we're training to train. We're training to get in the weight room and do movements which involve sprinting in the weight room, obviously with the 1080s at that point. So
okay, all right. Well, thank you guys. That's always good.
Good wording on that, Cal.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Good wording on that, where you're saying we're not truly sprinting, but we're sprinting to get better for other things.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Does that make sense or no?
It made complete sense.
Okay.
You won't piss anyone off by saying that.
Yeah.
Someone will clip that out and soundbite it, and it'll be perfect. But thank you there. There's plenty of coaches with really big teams, whether they're doing flies or what have you, that have guys kind of standing around. So I think those will be plenty of great ideas.
If you come train at my house, we do toe pro, we do spring ankle, we do I do the old stand on the PVC pipe and roll your feet around, and we do angled ankle squats. That's our foot potentiation if you come train here, where I have time to watch that and go through that.
Okay. And
That's awesome.
any four-way hip thrown in there as well?
I do four-way hips now because my 1080, or not my 1080, my four-way hip, the pad is completely gnawed away and nobody likes to use it because it hurts. So we have a 3D band. I don't have a 3D band. I have the one 1080 gave me, and we wrap in it, and then we do four-way hip with isokinetics in 3 different foot positions. That works really well. Really well, actually.
Awesome.
I tell you, when we have the large groups out on the turf, we'll do a lot of curved runs before we do our fly 10s or our acceleration 10s.
Yeah, I like curved runs too.
Yeah, we'll do just short, boom, just lean, trying to get their head in the middle of the circle, and they'll sprint around, boom, sprint the other way, boom, now we're up. Or we're doing something else in that circuit to potentiate that fly 10.
And what is that working on? What's that helpful for?
Vestibular system, just the stimulation of the semicircular canals. Yep.
Okay. Great.